Hello and welcome to our August instalment of the Moho textured square cal. Right, so this month it's all about the gently lapping waves of the beautiful sea that you've all probably been paddling in. As you can tell, I've been to Scotland for a week for my exotic holidays, so I've got that Scottish tan that's just a little bit sort of pale blue in places and a bit rain soaked. But you know, if you are in a tropical climate and you've got the sea gently lapping at your toes, that's what this colour and this stitch is all about. So I want you to think about tropical beaches, cocktail in hand, seagulls screaming in the air above you, and the kids arguing over who's got the spade at the moment. It's a beautiful idyllic picture, isn't it? Right, let's do some crochet then. Okay, so let's see what we need. We have got our pattern here, square number 8. We have got our yarn, so we are using this, which is Sage, but again you can use whatever you fancy. We have got a hook that is, so we're on a 6.5 this time. Can you see that there? So this is, we want it to be one bigger than what you did square 1 in. Because this has got slip stitches involved, it is quite a tight fabric it produces, so we want to use the 6.5 to make it so it's not too dense a stitch. We've got some little snips. Stitch marker optional, it does help, as we know, but I know not all of you are stitch marker fans. And a pen. So the rotation of the rows in this one can sometimes trip people up, we've discovered. So if you've got a pen, we can do like a little tally, and then you can kind of check which one you're up to and avoid any issues, let's say. Right, let's get on with it then. So put them out of the way there, and we've got this. So if you are making a different size of square, so you've got your guidance here, it says you're making a different size, there needs to be a multiple of 5 plus 1 extra. So we're doing 21, so we will have 20 plus 1. All right, so let's put that out of the way there and let's get going. Should we zoom in a little bit? Go on then. Right, so we're going to chain 21. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21. Let's do a quick count, because if it's wrong now, it's going to be wrong all the way through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Lovely. Okay, so the first instructions say starting in the second chain from the hook, so working loop, first chain, second chain, so starting in here, so I'm going to insert in there. It says work a slip stitch into each of the first 5 chains. So we have got slip stitches through, hook your yarn, pull it through once, pull it through the same one, through that next one there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now the key here to making this not a stressful pattern is keep your slip stitches loose. Okay, if your slip stitches are tight, and we tend to make them quite tight because a slip stitch is usually a joining stitch, but think about when you're doing your borders of these, we want it to be nice and loose. If it's too tight, the rest of this is going to be quite difficult. Shall we zoom in a little bit more? Go on. Right, so for the next 5, we're going to do 5 half trebles, and that's the rotation of this pattern. We do 5 slip, 5 half treble, 5 slip, 5 half treble. So we've got, that one's gone into there. So a half treble is wrap, through, back, wrap, and through all 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, let's get a bit more yarn here, 4 and 5, and then we're back to 5 slips. So you can see the slip and low down here, little ones, and then we go up a bit taller, then we're going to go into our 5 slip. So 1, loosey goosey, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now my maths, you know, we all know isn't great, but there should be 5 chains left. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hurrah! So we go 5 half trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's our first row done, and it should go a bit like whoop, 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 like that, little like a snake that's eaten an egg here and an egg here, and that's its head. I don't know much about animals, as well we know. Right, so the next row, we're ready to start row 3 now. Now at the start of this row there is a big bit, let's have a quick look just to remind ourselves here, in block capitals that says from this point on work in back loop only. So it's not only in capitals but it's in bold, so it must be very important. So we're going to be in the back loop only, okay, and the chain throughout this pattern does not count. It's always a 1 chain for the starter, but it does not count as our first stitch. And as you can see, we're going to start and we're going to be working slip stitches, and then we're going to be doing the half trebles. So let's have a look what that looks like in reality. So we've got our chain, lovely, turn. Now I'm going to be going in the back loop only. So I've got working loop, first chain, first stitch. I'm not going in there though. I'm going in the middle and out of the back, and I'm going in and I want 5 slip stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the transitions between slip to half treble can look a little bit, it's not quite as easy to just sort of look at it and go, oh, I can tell what stitch should be next. So I really do recommend counting to 5. I know it's a bit of a pain, but until you've got a good few rows in, you've got your eye in, I would just keep counting, all right? Like Dory says, just keep counting, but swimming. And it's back loop only, remember. So we've got our 5 slips, so we're then on to 5 half treble. 1, 2, I will stuck around my foot. 3, 4, and 5. And then we're back into our 5 slips, back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're finishing off with our 5, and this is the bit where we definitely need to count because we're going to have this little toe nonsense down here. 5 half trebles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that was row 3. So this will be our front here, and we can see we're starting to get this wave pattern appearing. On the back we should just get sort of pretty much straight lines like this, nothing too special. Okay, so that was row 3. So we're ready to start row 4. So as ever, start with 1 chain, does not count. Now under here, so from this point on, you're going to be doing 2 rows that sort of line up, so they have half treble on top of half treble, slip on top of slip, half treble, slip, slip, and then you'll alternate, so it goes slip on top of half treble, and then you'll have 2 rows that do the slip, slip. So you need to sort of start to get your eye in, and this is how, if you're doing your tally, then it doesn't matter. That will keep you on the straight and narrow. If you're going to be doing it by eye, then this is how we check. So we've got a half treble there, but I've got a slip below. So I know I need to start with 5 half trebles. So I've got my working loop, first chain, don't count any of that, 5 half trebles, back loop only in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we're on to our 5 slips again, all through the back loop only. Now if you've done these too tight, this bit will get difficult because you've got slips on top of slips. So we're going to go, oh, squidge it in there. 1, and we only want to pick up 1 loop. 2, make sure you're picking up the right one. So there's my front loop, is that back one there. I don't want to pick up the one below because I'll lose my stitch definition. 3, 4, and 5, and then 5 half trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then finishing on our 5 slips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we can now start to see we're getting this lovely wave pattern starting to appear here. All right, so that was a row 4. What it then wants me to do, and it's not just an alternation, the way that this pattern goes is it goes 3, 4, 4, 3. So it's technically 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4. I'm just shouting numbers at you now, and that's nonsense. But if you look at the front, then you can see that we've got a slip on top of a slip, and we've got a half on top of a half. So therefore I must be ready to change. So I want, on top of these 2 slips here, I want half trebles. So same again, 1 chain, turn, working loop, first chain, first back loop, 5 half trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Onto my 5 slips, back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 5 half trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we want our 5 slips to finish it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So your front, now you can see you're starting to really get this sort of wave pattern, and in between, when you alternate and you go from one stitch to another, it will level it off. When you've got a bumpy row, you're going to do the same on top of it. So I just did a row, what did I do? Row 3. So I'm back onto another row 3. So I'm going to do slips on top of slips because I've only got slips on top of halves there. So we'll do one more row, and then I will see if I can explain this any better to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slip stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then my final lot of half trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we'll do a turn chain. Right, so we can now clearly see we're starting to get this. Where we get our 2 slip stitches together, we get like 2 rows nice and tight, and then we've got half trebles on top of half trebles, slips on top of slips, slips on top of slips, half trebles. And then we carry on like that until we have our beautiful wave. So I'll leave you in a moment and I'll come back when I've finished it to a square. Just remember, if you are doing a tally, what I would recommend is you write down like 3 3 4 4 3 3 4 4, so that you know which row you're on when you come back to start it. And it is, so if you look, we've got a row, we'll go row 3 4 4 3, but if you put that one up there, then that's when it's 3 3 4 4. I feel like I'm just shouting numbers at you again. But this is where people get confused, is they'll look at this and they'll go, oh right, well I've got so if you did a half treble on top of that, you would totally lose your pattern. All right, and the back loop only is crucial. Okay, I'll leave you to it. We'll see how you get on, see how I get on, and I'll come back by the time we've got a square. All right, see you in a minute. Right, so I have now reached the point where I've got a square. Remember, we test it by folding it in half like that. We can see that's pretty much a square. This will be one of the smaller squares, like we've said, and it'll probably be a sort of a similar size to your February square or your star stitch square. So don't worry if you think, oh, this isn't as big as the others. As we've said, they will all wibble themselves out. Right, so this is our front. It's got these lovely little waves on the front there, and this is our back. So we need to make sure that we're doing the border on with the front facing us, with the right side facing us. So we're going to go this way around. And we need to make sure that we've finished on a row where it straightens it off. So we finish on either a row 3 or a row 5. So like the where we've switched, okay? So we are now ready to start our little slip stitch border, which I know you all really, really love. So let's get going on that. So remember, we want 20 down each side. Now we have got 20 stitches across there, so that's nice and easy. So let's put our little friend, the stitch marker, in at our halfway point there. And we know we want 10 slip stitches to there. So what have we got? We've got like, if we did 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? So we're kind of going in the edge of each end of each row. So again, nice and loosey goosey. 1 2 in there, 3 4, and go in there. 5, and then we'll have 6. That's my arm on the table, I'm not trumping. 7 8 and 9, and we'll do 1 in there where my stitch marker is. Let's take it out, let's split the yarn a bit, and 10. Lovely. And then so we want, we'll have 11, 12, 13, go in there, 14, 15, that's tight there, 16, 17, and another one in there, 18, and 19, and 20. Okay, 1 chain for your corner, and then along this edge should be nice and straightforward. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, oh, missed it, 12 13 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. One chain, coming back up this raw edge here. So let's do our little cheeky cheeky stitch marker there. Put that out of the way. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We'll go 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Flirt that out, and then 11. Ooh, 12. So tight, some of these. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and there. Too tight. 18, 19 and 20. Now along here, along this top edge, now I know a lot of you are saying, oh well, I'll not bother going along that top edge because it's still got it, you've got your stitches there and it'll be nice to join together. We do still need that that slip stitch row, so we do our 1 chain. But what I will say is on this one, if you wanted to do it through the back loop only, that would be permitted because you just get a bit of extra pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oh, a bit more wool, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. We do our 1 chain and then we'll do our invisible join. Right, where's my skizzers? There we go. Let's get that out of the way. That out of the way there. Oh, I've not got my yarn needle. I'll have to use a rubbish plastic one. Right, so we're going to do our invisible join here. Squidge it through there. So remember, we go find that stitch, that first slip stitch that we had there, go underneath both sides of that, and then back down where the yarn came out of and through a stitch at the back, and then we pull that in, and that will be invisible. Right, so we'll stitch our ends in. Now where you've got your slip stitches, it's not quite as easy to sew your ends in, so you have to do a little bit more of a sort of a weavy pattern. So what I would do is I'd go down a little bit, work your way down to the edge where you've got some half trebles and sew in underneath the legs of your half trebles like that. Okay, because it's through the back loop only as well, it's not got quite as much structure to the fabric. So pull it through, get your tension of your bit right, and then back through half as far, bit of tight pull. Lovely. Do this one down here, so I've actually sewn my ends in. believe I do it. I do it most of the time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do 5 of them. Pick up that another little bit there. Shall we have that? Lovely. And through, and then back over 1, and through half as many on your way back, like that. And snip off. And there you have it. August, all done. That's 8 months. Only 4 to go. A bit of rubbish maths there. So like we said, this one will probably end up being one of your smaller squares, but do not worry. That is absolutely tip top and to be expected. What else have we got? Have we not got a, oh, we've got a pink one there. So obviously there's a couple more in there, one of them. And what else do we need? That one. There you go. So we should be getting up to almost like a decent amount of size of blanket if you've been doing 4 each time. If you haven't, don't worry. It's never too late. And there's no deadline on this. Right, so thank you very much for joining us. As ever, if you've got any questions, just message me. You can either message me through the Facebook group or through the website, or just send a pigeon or whatever you want, really. But don't struggle. Give me a shout. This is one of the more tricky ones, and there are, once you've done a few and you get your eye in, you go like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing now. But it is one of the more challenging ones to get your head around at the beginning. Okay, so don't struggle in silence. Call me, message me, I will help you. All right, well, that's it for now then. Thank you very much, and we will see you in September. Bye bye.